What do you call people avoiding healthy fats?
What?
Avocados.
Nice.
Hungry Squared, bringing you the best food talk anywhere.
Welcome to the Hungry Squared podcast where the brain and belly meet. I'm Sharon from the Wasatch Cooking Guide.
And I'm Winter from theredparty.com. This week we are talking about avocados.
Avocados.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
What you're looking for. Hungry Squared, yeah, Hungry Squared.
Sharon, how has your week been?
It's been good.
Has it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Did you eat anything awesome or good or bad or ugly?
I ate ice cream for dinner.
Sharon, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
No.
Are you an avocado?
No.
Okay.
Avocados are one of my favorite foods.
Okay, good.
But I ate them all.
Good.
I actually had some this week. And we were planning on going to the grocery store after work, but some family came in town and then I had to go somewhere. So this time that I had to eat at home really got
Condensed.
Yes, you could say it got condensed. So I had to eat something before I left for my stuff that night the other day. So I ate ice cream for dinner.
You know, when it's condensed now, I mean, like, ice cream is perfect. Lots of calories. You don't have to warm it up.
Yeah. I mean, it was good.
Okay, but
there was a fruit swirl inside.
I was going to say, what kind of ice cream was it? That's the key.
It was Marionberry pie.
Oh, is it the...
With the pie chunks and
the
blackberry.
Wait, what brand is it?
It's Tillamook.
Yes, we've had that before.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good.
Yeah, so I had that for dinner.
I would eat that for dinner too.
So it's like pie a la mode for dinner.
Yeah.
Which is almost like dinner for dinner.
You're really stretching it there, friend.
Maybe. What did you eat this week?
Well, I had dinner, and it was wonderful. So it's been a little rainy here lately.
Yeah, it has.
And
I kind of love it.
I kind of love it too. I really love it. And it's a little cold. And so it just is conducive to wearing like woolly socks and cuddling up on the couch with a blanket.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted some Cincinnati chili. Have you ever had Cincinnati chili before?
Yes, I've had Lee's Cincinnati chili.
I know. Okay, so Lee makes this Cincinnati chili. Of course, everybody, I just want to point out my husband makes all the food in our house.
Not all of it.
Okay, he doesn't make the Instant Pot stuff. I do that. But he made Cincinnati chili. And what is Cincinnati chili? And people from Cincinnati will probably get mad at me, but we just were looking for a really fun chili recipe that was different for our chili chili cook-off a few years back. And we stumbled upon this recipe for Cincinnati chili, which in a sense actually is more like a spaghetti sauce to me.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that? But
with cinnamon.
Yes. So the sauce itself has the ground beef and onions and that type of thing, tomato sauce, but there is cinnamon in it. There's dark chocolate in it.
Yeah,
there's
so
some
good.
cumin. So it's very flavorful. It's a really dark colored, at least the version that we make. And I can post
dark colored.
I can post the recipe in the show notes, but it's really rich and warm and comforting. And then you can do the Cincinnati, like I think 5 different ways. And the first way is you serve it over spaghetti noodles,
which is delicious.
And then the second way is you add cheese to the top, like shredded cheddar cheese, I think is what's supposed to be. And then the next way could be with onions, chopped up raw onions.
Oh, okay.
Next way is with red kidney beans.
Oh.
And then the last way is with oyster crackers. Because hypothetically speaking, the sauce should be pretty soupy. Like it's supposed to be a chili, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's supposed to soak up some of that sauce, but we never have it that soupy. Actually, I think we probably just like
pretty thick, isn't it?
Yeah, ours is pretty thick. We like but we just really like that flavor profile. So you could have it the 5 ways. I think that's what they call it. So anybody that's from Cincinnati would like to chime in on what it's really like, you can. But I really like the flavor profile you guys have come up with. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's tasty.
It's so good.
And now for the main course.
Okay, let's get down to our topic at hand. Avocados.
Yes. Avocados. Why are we talking about this, Sharon?
Because they're good.
Yeah, they are. And they're in season. And so they're on my brain.
Yes.
I've been eating them a lot lately.
Mm-hmm. They're so good.
They are so tasty right now. And they're cheaper.
Yeah. They're kind of an expensive fruit.
Yes.
And did you know that they're a fruit?
yes, I did. I
Yeah.
didn't know that before I started researching it, though, sadly.
Yes, they are a fruit with a seed inside.
A very large seed.
Very large, depending on the avocado that you get.
Yes.
It is a member of the laurel family and a relative of the bay laurel, California bay, and sassafras.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sassafras.
Mhm.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And avocados they contain little to no sugar or starch.
Yes.
They are about 30% oil.
Yes. I
Um,
can see that. They're very buttery tasting.
Mhm. Super creamy.
Super creamy.
But that oil, so almost the equivalent of a well-marbled piece of meat, but if the marbling in the meat were like olive oil, because the oil in avocados, avocado oil, is a monounsaturated fat.
Yes, which is a good thing.
Yes, it's a healthy fat,
It's a healthy fat.
and it helps you absorb nutrients,
Yes.
other vitamins and minerals that you need.
Yeah, so throw on some avocado onto a salad and it will help you absorb all those other things, right?
Yeah.
That basically is what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that's cool.
Yeah. So avocados have been around since people have been eating them regularly since about 3500 BC.
That's a long time.
Super long time. And they come from the Nahuatl word, the Aztec word for testicle.
Testicle.
So
This is a clean podcast, everybody.
It is. Just saying.
It's just an anatomical
part. Possibly the lore goes because it's the same shape. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, I can, yep. Mm-hmm.
It's a stone fruit. So Winter's cracking up.
I'm so immature sometimes. I'm so sorry, everybody.
So the avocados originated just in a couple of parts in Mexico and Central America. And it's really interesting because the climates where they grew are actually a little different. The Mexican group evolved in relatively cool subtropical highlands. So that group of avocados is the most cold tolerant.
Oh, okay. They're specific to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they produce, those types of trees produce a smaller, smooth fleshed fruit that are really high in oil. And they can take relatively low storage temperatures of around like 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And then there's another group called the lowland group. And that evolved in a semi-tropical west coast of Guatemala.
Mm.
And they're the least cold tolerant.
So they need need to be very warm, probably really sunny.
They need to be warmer. So those fruits tend to be larger and have a coarser flesh, and they can't be stored below 54 degrees.
Mm.
So it needs to be almost 20 degrees higher.
So when you say a coarser flesh, so that it's not as like that creamy, the actual green part is not as creamy
Not
as
quite.
that we are maybe aware of, like for like a Haas avocado,
Mhm.
for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so that's the lowland group. Then there's an actual group called the Guatemalan group. And those trees grew in semi-tropical highlands. And it's kind of the middle ground
Okay.
for your avocados. That middle ground, the flesh of those fruits are the least fibrous. Avocados still have a lot of fiber in them, but it's the least fibrous tasting. And the proportion of avocado to seed is lower.
There really is a lot of fiber in avocados.
There's a bit, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I would not even suspect that because I think the ones that I eat, I feel like they're so creamy. That's
You
so
could almost substitute
weird.
it for butter. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
The ones that we recognize the most are the Haas avocado, like you had said. And that has
And that's HASS, everybody, if you don't know what that is, the Haas avocado.
So it's the species, I guess, or like a Macintosh apple type of thing. You have a Haas avocado.
It's a cultivar.
Cultivar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. Or yeah, I think that may be the correct term.
Okay. So it has almost a black pebbly flesh.
Yes.
And that's the one, it gets the greenest like the interior is greener.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that's kind of your go-to for all your guacamoles and stuff like that. And the origination of the Hass avocado is mainly Guatemalan.
Okay.
And then the other really popular one is the smooth green skin Forte avocado.
Oh.
And that, let's see.
I don't think I've ever had that kind before.
If it's not a Hass avocado, it's probably that one.
Okay.
So it's more green than it is dark to black.
Outside?
On the outside.
On the outside. Okay.
So the skin is green. And it's a thinner skin. And yeah, the outer skin's green and just like the peel is thinner.
Okay.
So
maybe
it's lighter on the inside.
Maybe I
usually.
have like more of a yellowish
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
yellowish green. Okay. I think maybe I have, and it's called the Forte.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know that, so I'm going to have to pay attention next time I get an avocado.
Yeah. So in the U.S., avocados started growing in the 1830s in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But now most of the crop, about 80% of avocados grown in the U.S. are grown in California.
Yeah.
And they're Hass.
And they're Hass ones.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is good stuff.
So-
Can I say something about the whole, like, where they started out in Mexico
Yeah.
and how they were spread a little bit?
Yes, I would love
At least
to know.
back in ancient days, because I thought this was really interesting. Yet again, a little bit of tidbit of knowledge that I got from a friend about avocados. So I thought this was fascinating. So, because he said to me, he's like, hey, did you know that panthers are one of the reasons why avocados have been dispersed as they have been? They've grown.
A panther?
Yeah. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, because then they eat it. They eat the avocado. They eat it whole. The
Okay.
seed goes through the GI tract untouched, and they poop it out.
Okay.
Once again, we're a clean podcast here, everybody. They poop it out.
They excrete the seed.
Yes. And so the seed is there intact in the dung. And in the meantime, the panther is eaten, and then they go
wander
around,
away.
they wander away, and they poop in a different area. And I was like, what are you talking about? That totally makes sense. And
So then
Really?
they just fertilized a seed, basically.
Well, they
like
didn't-
with their manure.
no,
Well, not
oh,
fertilized it, but
they moved it a different place. And so I thought that was kind of cool. And I was like, I'm going to look into that. So I did not find that exact information. However, there was something else called evolutionary anachronism that I want to talk about.
okay.
So it's this concept of evolutionary biology that was kind of introduced by this an author. Her name is Connie Barlow, and she wrote this book, The Ghosts of Evolution, and it came out in 2000. And she talks about how she kind of refers to those species that are still alive today were favorably selected in the past due to kind of a coevolution with another biological species that is now extinct. So when I say that, there's a paper by a specific, he's a botanist, his name is Daniel Jansen, and a geologist named Paul Martin. And they wrote this paper where they talked about how, and when I say back in the day, like what I'm talking about, like way in when they call it megafauna. So those big old animals, woolly mammoths, those types of animals were around.
Okay.
They were likely the ones that actually ate the avocados and moved to different places, pooped, left the seed intact, and it got spread that way.
Huh.
Now, those animals are no longer here. So that's kind of what they're talking about, that evolutionary anachronism is where the one species, the avocado, which is kind of a weird, like that seed is huge. Like no bird's going to walk around with that thing.
No way.
No way. So those larger animals, those larger herbivores that would eat these kind of things were the ones that helped the avocado out in its reproduction and spread, but then they themselves didn't make it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
they died off. Like, kind of crazy, huh? So it's not to say...
Thank you, woolly mammoth.
I know. It's not to say that the panther is not the way it gets around, but I would say that there was something way earlier than the panther that was probably likely the thing that would eat it, roam, and defecate the seed. It's nice. Survival and growth via that seed dispersal route. It works, right?
Yeah.
And this was from, like I said, I didn't mention it before, but the Cenozoic era is when they were thinking. So kind of the mammoths. Gomphotheres is another thing. Giant ground sloths.
Ooh.
I know, right? They were roaming with those seeds in their guts and pooping.
Which is maybe why they're so slow today. Just kidding.
I just wanted to share that. I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, what? This is crazy. I'll put a link in the show notes because there's a really interesting article that they wrote. This Daniel Jansen and Paul Martin
Awesome.
in 1980 or so. And it has pictures and seeds and yeah,
Cool.
it's good fun.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. Okay.
All right.
Let's talk about
Let's talk about eating,
which
is a really great segue from what we were just talking
No,
about.
no, it's not a great segue. In fact, it's a pretty terrible one.
But if you're really repulsed right now, go to your Instagram and you can find some avocado toast, I'm pretty sure. Go to Pinterest. You'll for sure find it there.
I love avocado toast.
Yeah. What else do you eat avocados on?
Guacamole. I make guacamole.
Okay.
What am I talking about? Lee makes my guacamole. Just kidding. He makes it with strawberries. So good.
Oh, yeah.
We have it on super nachos.
Yeah.
And I will just eat it plain too.
Yeah. I eat it in salad.
Mhm.
I will put it on. I'll put it on almost anything. And Ike thinks I'm a little weird. I'm like, oh, save that avocado for me. And he's like, we're having steak. And I'm like, yep.
I'm going to put,
Yeah.
I think there are some places so we eat them mostly in savory things,
Mm-hmm.
but there are a lot of countries that I feel like eat it in sweet things. Like they'll put it on ice cream
Yeah.
and such, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Salt and honey is a good combination on the avocado.
Oh, yeah. I could get
Just
into
gonna
that.
throw that out there.
I could get into that.
So eating avocados is very fun.
Mm-hmm.
If you want tips and ideas, you can go to californiaavocados.com.
Oh,
There's the California Avocado
yep.
Association, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
And they kind of represent a lot of growers and have a lot of good ideas for your uses for avocados. But something that I learned is that the serving size for an avocado has recently changed.
Oh,
So
what is it?
So a few years ago, I myself went to a dietitian and interviewed her for an unrelated, not a podcast thing,
Mm-hmm.
for a work thing. And we got to talking about food portions and things like that. And she was like, oh, you eat avocados? And I was like, yeah, they're so good. And she's like, well, they're pretty high in calories. And so she ended up Googling it and she was surprised by actually how low, like she was mistaken a little bit, how low it was. She thought it was well over 300 calories or something like that.
For one avocado.
For one avocado.
Okay.
And then,
Wait, how many? Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
so the calorie count for like a medium size Hass avocado is 240 calories.
Okay.
And the serving size just changed in July of 2016, and it is now a third of an avocado as your serving size.
What?
So
What was it before?
a fifth.
Okay, I'm
Which
sorry.
is super dumb.
Okay, wait. Okay,
'Cause I don't know how you're gonna like figure out
Cut.
what a fifth is.
Yeah. Okay, so this is
Because
how.
you're just gonna have to slice it all
Mhm.
up and then just decide this is a fifth.
Yeah, because everybody.
Kinda
Okay,
dumb.
this is how I open up an avocado.
I slice it in half.
Slice it in half.
But now I have learned a new trick where you can always pretty much get your exact portion size should you want one.
Of a third.
Sure.
Totally not doing that.
But it's kind of cool
Okay.
because it's a new way to slice an
Okay,
avocado
let's
and
hear
it
it.
makes it easier to peel. So you don't have to peel it out of like the whole cup because that gets a little dicey.
That you can lose some.
You lose
I
some
don't like
and
that.
you want that dark green
Mm-hmm.
because that has a lot of phytonutrients in it.
Yeah, I was like, isn't there a lot of beta carotene in that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's a lot of alpha and beta carotene and lutein and that dark green part.
Yes.
So
and we want that.
When I end up slicing my avocado in half, I usually save one half and put it in the fridge for later. And I'll put like either some water over it or some lemon or lime juice because you need to block the oxygen to prevent it from browning.
Mm-hmm.
But if my avocados are brown, I'm probably still going to eat them, I'll be honest.
Well, you can
'Cause they're
also
still
just
good.
you can also just scrape off that top layer too,
Yeah.
if it really bugs you.
If it really super bugs you.
Yeah.
Because it's bright green underneath. But then you lose avocado, and that makes me sad. That's
Yeah.
why I
You don't
don't
want
hesitate
that.
to eat it.
You don't want
Still
that.
tastes the same. But so instead of slicing it in half, and then I usually slice the avocado out of my half, out of my cup.
Yeah.
Right. So you can take your avocado and slice it lengthwise, but just on one side.
Okay.
So don't come around the other side like you're going to slice it in half. Just
Yeah.
go down one side and then give it a third of a turn and do another cut
Oh.
that same way, and make sure that your cuts meet.
Okay.
The two cuts meet. And then you've got your third of an avocado, and it's super easy to peel off that skin.
Oh, that kind of makes a
So
little
you
bit
have
more
a
sense.
really pretty chunk.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to make it look pretty, that's a really good idea.
80 calories too, right?
Mhm,
Just
and
for the
that's 80
one.
calories for that chunk.
Oh, that's not bad. I'm going to have to try that because it is kind of tricky getting that.
Because you have to scoop it out.
mhm.
And then like, especially if you're making like guacamole or, you know, that really popular salad, that's the tomato, avocado,
Mhm.
cucumber, and red onion salad.
Yeah,
It gets really messy.
it does. And you
So
want it to
this
be
is a
pretty
little
and
bit-
intact.
Yeah, you want it to be pretty. And so this is an easier way to make it pretty.
Okay. I like to have things pretty.
Yeah.
So how would you describe avocado flavor? Because this is the thing that I found to be really interesting because another friend of mine, he said, oh, this is a really good avocado because we were having guacamole. It's like, this is a good avocado. It's just right because it has like, it's creamy and has a nutty flavor. And I was like, I've never thought of that before, but it does kind of have a nutty flavor when
Yeah.
it is like at the right ripeness is what I meant to say.
Yes. So the Flavor Bible talks about the volume of the flavor is
Mhm.
quiet,
Oh, yes.
but it does have a creamy nuttiness to it. If you've got a really good avocado, like I said, you can kind of substitute that for butter.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be that creamy and smooth. It is one of those texture foods that some people are averse to. I've noticed that.
Mhm.
But try an avocado. There's a lot of things that it works with, and not just Mexican food, not just your guacamole,
Mhm.
and not just salad. It pairs well with bacon,
Yes.
scallions, tomatoes, so all sorts of vegetables it pairs well with. But bacon I thought was interesting. And one of the most interesting pairings that I found in the Flavor Bible for avocados was grapefruit.
What?
Yeah.
Because I guess grapefruit is maybe considered a loud,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. It's definitely more loud, but I bet
It's loud. So it's a good compliment because it's loud, and it's got that, sometimes they can be bitter and tangy, and it's a nice compliment for that.
Let's make an
So-
avocado grapefruit salad okay, we're going to get back to that at some point in time.
Yes.
I like the Flavor Bible because they have some really just like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's interesting.
Avocado, grapefruit, and crab was another one that I thought.
Well, I think the
Should be
grapefruit with the crab, yep. And the avocado, the creaminess, like that could just be your butter, right? You have to dip it in clarified butter. So, yeah.
And
it
another
totally makes
pairing,
sense.
grapefruit, creme fraiche, and the avocado.
I don't know about that one. I'm not totally
I'd
convinced.
try it.
I would try it, but I'm not convinced.
Also, avocado, lemon, and smoked trout.
Yeah, I'd be all over that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
Totally would. Yeah.
pairs well with a lot of different meats that you wouldn't normally think about.
Mm-hmm.
Besides just your basic like chicken tacos or something like that.
Yeah.
So pairs
Mm.
well with seafood.
Try it, people. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm going to try the creme fraiche one. That one is weird to me, but I think it could be good.
No, it's a lot of restaurateurs like to kind of do the like arugula pairings with it too to get that bitter.
The bitter,
Mm-hmm.
the spiciness
The spice and the bitter.
with something a little bit smoother.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe coats the tongue a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. If you try any of these combinations, dear listeners, we'd like to hear it. I want to know if you've ever had grapefruit and avocado before. Try it. I know there's some people out there that will do it do it and tell us.
Take a picture.
Take a picture.
Tag us on Instagram at Hungry Squared.
Yes. Do that. And we'll be like, what? And then tell us how it is. Because I want to know. I'm going to try it though.
So avocados are in season.
Yeah.
Spring, summer.
Yes.
So they're starting to be on sale right now. But I've noticed that sometimes when I go to the store, like this last week, none of them were ripe.
Sharon, this has been a major problem for a lot of people in the past.
Either they're not ripe or they're over ripened.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Or you're like, I just
It's
bought
falling
one.
apart in your hand.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go home and it's going to be streaky. It has black stuff on it. I mean, it's already been oxidized, whatever. It's no fun. Okay. Can I tell you a little bit about how our little avocados ripen?
Yeah.
So avocados can stay on the tree for a long time and they just continue to mature.
Right. They don't ripen until you pick them.
Until you pick them. Okay. So, and they can stay on there for, days and months is what I think I heard.
Mm-hmm.
But just
that's
as
like how they're stored, basically,
Yeah.
is you just don't pick them.
Yeah. So that, I mean, can you think about that? That would be just such a great, like, okay, we'll just leave it there. It's fine. When we're ready to harvest, we can pick them and send them off. Right.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Okay. Now the problem is though, like you said, you go to the store and I am the type of person that likes to impulse buy, Sharon. I'll be the first to admit that I will impulse buy like, ooh, these grapes, these are, I'm buying these. They were not on my list, but I am buying them because they look wonderful.
Yeah. I have to stick to a list because otherwise I impulse buy like half the store.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
then I eat ice cream for dinner.
The problem with avocados, right, is that you can't really impulse buy some avocados if you think about it. Because you're like, I want an avocado. And then you're like, I want an avocado right now. That's me.
It can't be right now if it's not ripe.
No, it's a real buzzkill. It's a real killjoy. That's what I was trying to say. Is buzzkill a thing?
Yeah, buzzkill's a thing.
Okay.
Killjoy, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. I'm like, I don't think I said that right. Anyway, okay, so really quickly, so this is how avocados ripen. They usually ripen through ethylene gas. And so they are able to do their ripening process with exposure to ethylene gas. And so you can, for example, you can ripen your avocado by sticking it in like a plastic bag. A paper bag with like a banana in it because the banana or the apple is like emitting this ethylene gas.
The banana, I think, will emit it faster.
Yes.
Though,
Yeah. Because those things are going.
Yeah, they're going bad in a matter of days.
Yeah,
Remember that time mine blew up?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So refer back to our banana episode, everybody. That was a good one. I'm just saying that was a really good one. So you can do that and it helps ripen the avocado. So, but you know what? There was a dude. Well, there was several dudes actually that they were avocado farmers or avocado producers of some sort. And they were like, this is a problem. This is a real problem. In fact, let me just tell you actually who these folks were. So there is and I think you mentioned them earlier, the California Avocado Society.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And they were basically advocating avocados in food and people's diets. And so, because then they sell more avocados, right? So it was noted that I really enjoyed this. So it was documented that it takes about 6 days to get ripe. If you're going to just let it sit, sometimes if it's like harder than rock, just had pulled it from a tree, easily 5-6 days, right?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes longer. I've had them for a bit, but I learned if I refrigerate them before they're ripe, they don't really get really ripe.
Yeah. Oh, don't do that. Yeah. Do not put them in a refrigerator. I have found.
But once they're ripe, you can put them in the fridge and it kind of stops it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's what I do anyway.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
So this is one thing that this California Avocado Society noticed because they are people that were doing active research on things. And so I want to read what they wrote in this paper specifically because I totally loved it. So there was in San Diego, they had an informal experiment that was run by Katie and Ron Wild. And they gave people ripe avocados. And they're like, oh my gosh, these are amazing. These are great. We love them. This was in the 1980s. And every single question that they got back from people that had tried it was like, why can't I find ripe avocados like these in my store? And so after they did a little consumer questioning about what was going on, it was basically the problem is that unripe avocados were really putting a damper on impulse buying.
Oh,
Because people, what would they do is they'd go up to the avocado, hold it in their hand, squish it, not ready, put it back down. So like they
yeah,
like
that's
video,
what you do.
they basically kind of videotaped people or watched them kind of from afar and watched people, so many people pick it up, squish it, it's not right, put it back down and walk away. So they're like, we need people to impulse buy avocados also.
Oh my God.
So they're like, okay, how are we going to get these avocados to be ripe or really close to being the perfect ripeness? So people will like, oh my gosh, I'm making guacamole tonight, you know?
Right.
You need that kind of...
Mm-hmm. You need it to be ready within about a day.
Yeah, I need it now. So there was a problem. They needed these avocados to be ripe quickly. So what did they do? They're like, okay, well, there's some science that is involved. And that was trying to basically create these ripening rooms where they were pumping in ethylene into pallets of avocados so that they would ripen faster. Like,
oh, wow.
yeah. And the person that kind of headed this up, his name was Gil Henry. I think it's Charlie Gil Henry. And he was basically a pioneer in this. And the tricky thing is that they found out that the avocado, when it ripens, creates a couple of things, 2 byproducts, a lot of heat and carbon dioxide. So you're pumping this. Yep. Let's talk about how bad that can be.
Uh-oh.
Because if you think about it, the heat can totally start messing with the quality of the fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And
decomposes faster.
yeah. And also I was going to say, like, some of it would be affected depending on like how warm it's actually getting.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it wouldn't be. I suspect the stuff on the outside of the pallet would probably get affected more.
Sure.
I'm not totally sure about what was rotting first. So they had an issue, and they even noted that for a pallet, which is about 2,000 pounds of avocados, that the heat that it would emit was about a half a gallon of gas over 24 hours burning. Wow. And then for carbon dioxide that was produced, 120 cubic feet was produced in 24 hours. So that would, like I said, also affect the fruit quality. So as they were trying to develop the best way to ripen these, so they would pump in the ethylene gas and then they would force air through the pallet with a big fan through the actual pallet through the fruit.
Oh, okay. To just get that heat dispersed.
To disperse the heat. And then there was a smaller fan that would vent the entire room to the outside to get some of that CO2 out.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you want a quality product that is pretty much the same throughout the entire pallet, then you need to think about the entire process. But I just thought that was interesting. So there's quite a few of these ripening rooms throughout the nation in order to ripen them and then send them off to the grocers so that people can impulse buy their avocados.
Wow.
I know, crazy. Good old Gil Henry. He was
Wow.
an advocate of the avocado. Yeah.
Thanks, avocado dude.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought that was so fun.
Huh.
I love what people have to think about in order to get their products into our hands.
Yeah.
Because it's in my hands and I feel good about it. I'm just saying.
Our podcast is brought to you by our awesome and food-loving sponsor, Zip Schedules. Hungry Squared is supported by Zip Schedules' online employee scheduling software. Scheduling employees on a day-to-day basis can be time-consuming for any business manager. So make writing schedules a breeze and create your next work schedule in minutes. With Zip Schedules, you can automatically communicate schedules to your employees.
And Zip Schedules has kind of a handy-dandy mobile app that lets your employees check and update their schedules pretty much from anywhere. Zip Schedules makes scheduling effortless. Get your first 30 days for free by visiting Zip Schedules, zipschedules.com, and use the promo code HUNGRY, and that's HUNGRY in all upper caps, to receive 20% off each month for up to a year when you sign up. Thank you so much, Zip Schedules, for sponsoring our podcast.
Let's have a food fight.
Food fight, food fight, food fight, food fight. It's winter.
This is the segment where you can email us with your relationship questions relating to food. You can email us at hungrysquared@gmail.com.
Disclaimer, we are in no way professional relationship experts, but you should totally listen to us anyway. If you need professional help, please seek it out.
Food fight, food fight, food fight. The food fight segment of the show. Here we go.
Sharon, do you have this week's question?
Yes,
What is it?
it is a good one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Hi, Winter and Sharon. When is it okay to lie about food?
Oh,
I recently had a baby, and my neighbors were so kind as to bring by dinner one night. When they came by to collect their food containers, they were so excited to know what we thought of their generations-old family recipe.
oh,
I panicked. Of course, I said it was much appreciated, but I went on to say it was delicious. It was actually one of the worst things I've eaten in years.
oh.
Is this okay? What can I do to ease my guilty conscience? Sincerely, please keep that family recipe a secret.
Ugh. Well, congratulations on having a baby. That's exciting.
Doesn't that give you got the baby card? That's cool.
It is pretty cool.
Like, that gives her some leeway.
Yeah. Has that ever happened to you before?
No, I haven't had a baby.
No, I mean, Sharon, you know what I'm asking.
Food lies? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like we've all food lied before.
Oh, I have totally food lied. I food lied probably for like a year one time.
About what?
About food I was eating. So
Specific food?
once upon a time in a past life, I went on a service mission for my church, the church that I grew up in. And I was out there for like, I don't know, 18 or 19 months. So like a year and a half. And I was very lucky. And I met a lot of really cool people.
Yeah.
It was really great. And I was in a really great place. I was in the Pacific Northwest. It was awesome. And we were lucky because we got dinner every night from other church members. And I food lied all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I think that you kind of have to, because food is so emotional for a lot of people.
Oh, it totally is. Food creates memory.
Yeah.
Scents can trigger happy and sad memories.
Oh, yeah.
And food is so social. I mean, you connect around it to make these memories with each other, with your family.
Oh, totally.
With friends.
Yeah. And so I have no qualms about lying about somebody's food, because if it's not, because the thing is, they love it. Apparently they love it. And
you love them, and that is great.
Yeah.
You know,
and
they can love bad things.
They were, yeah, exactly. Your friends can have bad taste. It's fine.
Yeah,
you can
I'm
still
sure
be
I
friends.
have bad taste too.
I know. So
I ate ice cream for dinner this week.
No judgment. So I was just thinking about other situations where I'm like, I think this is really delicious and tasty, but that's just because that my palate is used to it. So like if I offered you chicken feet, because I think that's dang good, like chicken feet as in dim sum, I think a lot of people would be like, that's gross, Winter. What's wrong with you? Right? Like Lee said that the first time he had it.
I had it with you once, and it was a little bit of a food dare for me, but I actually liked it.
Yeah. So it was actually at that same restaurant that Lee had it for the first time, like a year before. So it's funny. So like, I think it just also depends on that person's, they have a different food experience and they're used to something totally different.
Yeah.
So it's okay to lie about food.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I mean, everybody's food experiences are different. Sometimes that can be cultural, but not necessarily. And just because somebody comes from a different cultural background from you doesn't mean their food's gross.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
It's usually super good. I grew up on Kraft macaroni and cheese, so anything.
Well, and some people,
good.
And also, right, some people just have a really sensitive palate. They could be one of our super tasters, and anything just doesn't, like, there's just a lot of things that they can't eat because it's too much. It's too powerful or whatever happens to be. So I think it's okay to lie about, like, I think it's good that you expressed appreciation.
Yeah, I mean, of course, express your gratitude for the kindness, because that is so nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice when people just pitch in and just come to your door and like, hey, I know you're going through some stuff, whether it be a birth or a death or, you know, just
anything,
your busyness of life, you know, they just want to pitch in and help. Yeah. And I think that's great.
Sharon, what would you do if the tables were turned? If you were the one that had to give a meal, what would you do? What would you bring them? What's your go-to?
Oh, what's my go-to?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't even know. I'd probably make one of my quick weeknight meals. So it would end up being like a curry or like a skillet pasta of some sort.
Yeah. And
Maybe a bolognese. I don't know.
Yeah, generally a pretty benign meal, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I mean, if they thought that theirs was benign, it's just like beloved
Yeah.
that they make it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, maybe grandma's meatloaf isn't so great.
But they have associated memories with it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. One thing I thought was kind of cool when I had Lucy, our daughter, somebody brought over a gift card to a restaurant.
Oh, that's smart.
I mean, and like we did have to go out. Like,
You still have to go and get it.
You still have to go and get it.
Pain,
but it was kind of like, oh, this has never happened before. This is okay. But I was like, this is really nice because we don't have to eat it now. Because sometimes you get an influx of stuff at the beginning.
That's true too.
And that was kind of like, oh, you know what? In a couple weeks when all the influx has died out, then
we're going to want this gift card.
Yeah. And it will give me an opportunity to get out of the house. So
Yes.
Anyway, just a thought.
What would you give? Would you give the gift card?
No,
That seems like a good idea.
I think that might be a good option if you don't have the time to make it. But I think we generally have done like chicken noodle soup, easy, quick, very hearty. People love it.
Do you do Lee's mom's chicken noodle soup?
With the mashed potatoes?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
We generally try and do that because it's kind of a fun, like, what? I had never had it before. So Lee's mom makes mashed potatoes. So she'll make the chicken noodle soup, no potatoes in it, but she'll make mashed potatoes on the side. And then she puts a dollop of mashed potatoes in your bowl. And then you spoon
it's more like
soup.
a sizable scoop of mashed potatoes with soup on top.
Yeah. And then you just kind of let the potatoes dissolve. And these are not like smooth mashed potatoes. It's
chunky.
It's like chunky mashed potatoes. And I think those are really good. So I think we've done chicken noodle soup a lot of times. If it's in the summer, we do a good hearty salad because sometimes you get like super comfort foods when people bring things over for, like you said, a birth or a death, or if they're going through something. So sometimes it's nice just to have vegetables. That's what I say.
Yeah.
And you could stick an avocado on it.
Yes, you could.
Stick an avocado on it.
Stick an avocado on it and don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's okay to food lie.
Yeah. Food lie. It's good. We advocate that. We totally love your cookies though that you send us, right?
Who sent us cookies?
Nobody sent us cookies. I'm trying to convince somebody to send us cookies.
If you want to send us cookies, you totally can. We've gotten a couple of foodstuffs from people and I've actually liked all of them.
Yeah.
That is not a food lie.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody that is like, you need to try this here. And then they give it to us and we're like, okay. And we try it and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So
mostly because we like most food.
Yeah. We're like, bring it on.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we did okay.
Yeah. Food lie, save your friendships. It's totally cool. Don't even worry about it. Everybody does it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today for our show. You can find us at hungrysquared.com, on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Music.
Hey, everybody. Have you shared our podcast with your food nerdy friends and family? You have? Thanks. We appreciate that. But if you haven't, share it with other people. And then if you haven't subscribed, then subscribe to our podcast. It's super easy. That helps us show up on other people's radars. So that really helps us out. So we would love it if you could do that. And another thing, just to put it in your ear, we have a little announcement that will be happening next time about some fun apparel.
Yes.
That will be coming. More to come next week. So next week, join us for our next episode of Food Nerdery.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hungry squared, yeah, hungry squared.